Growing up, I had mixed loose natural curly hair. I had that texture that's like in between white hair, black hair, kind of silky but not that silky, and a little bit coarser but not that coarse. So it was a texture that if you don't know how to take care of it, you just end up doing buns, ponytails, braids all the time, and I definitely didn't know how to take care of it. But fast forward to when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I ended up getting a relaxer and got relaxers literally until I was in 12th grade. And that's all I knew. I didn't know anything about wearing natural hair and the natural community. Like, I thought that was just what we did. And also, as a mixed girl, you always go through this identity crisis of, do I embrace my white side, my black side? And I think I went through a phase of thinking straight hair was just the best. It was more easy to manage, and it worked for me at that time. It worked for the vibe I was going for. But in high school, I met a friend who really encouraged me to embrace my natural hair, and she was all natural herself. She started doing little twists in my hair, and she said, like, you can do this, like, just don't go get the relaxer. And eventually I listened, and I don't know, I literally don't know why, but I just felt like, okay, sure. And in 12th grade, I stopped getting relaxers. So I feel like that marks my natural hair journey. And then in college, I had no idea how to take care of loose natural hair, so I basically rocked an afro. I would do it like half to the side and pin it up here, and then just had an afro. I literally didn't know how to maintain those curls that you would get after the shower, because I didn't know anything about hair products, anything about products that were specifically for my type of hair, like nothing. And so managing my hair was always a challenge. However, I always knew in the back of my head that I would eventually want to get locks, but for me, it was such a permanent decision that I knew at that moment I wasn't ready. It was kind of like a tattoo for me. Like, I wanted to make sure the timing was right and what I wanted. Like, I just wanted to make sure that it was the right decision for the right time. And so eventually I made it up in my mind that when I have kids, then I'll get locked. Because for me, like, when in my head, at least at that time, locking your hair meant like no longer taking care of your hair anymore, which is so untrue. But it just signified to me, it's now no longer about me, but about my family and my future generations. And so yeah, I made up in my head that when I had kids, I would get locked. However, fast forward to about 2020, when the pandemic hit and everyone was dyeing their hair and doing a bunch of crazy stuff, I was a part of those crazy people dyeing their hairs. And I did it like 4 times, no kidding, within the span of a couple months. So I had bleach blonde hair. I had also gotten married that year, and for whatever reason decided that was the time that I wanted to lock my hair. So that was around, yeah, 2020-ish. And I started off with doing my own 2-strand twist. However, I just didn't like how they came out. I didn't have any clean parts. It was kind of, I lived in a van at the time. We converted a Ford Transit van into our mobile home for our first couple years of marriage. And so, like, I was trying to, I don't know, do my hair and get precise parts in the van, and it just wasn't working. So it is September 4th, 2020. And this is the last night with my loose natural hair. First one down. We'll head to go.
You and I can help too. Everyone, let's get back to the... I'm so sorry, Matt.
And I want to see how you felt about keeping locks from the dirt.
So eventually I ended up taking those starter locks out. I had them for about 2 weeks maybe, and then I took them out, and then I found someone who could do precise parts, but I just also, I don't know, I just didn't like how they came out. I thought maybe I had not enough locks on my head, but at the same time they felt so thin to me. I felt like something was wrong, and I just didn't like it. So in doing a little bit of research, I came to the conclusion that for my hair texture, because it was so fine, that I wanted to crochet or instant lock my hair. Because in my brain, it was more practical that you put in all that time and then you have locks at the end. So why not? And it was pretty damaging at first, and it literally, my locks were up to here. My hair went from being down here to literally up to here. And it was like, I think that was December, I want to say December 2020 is when we did that. It was around December 2020 that I made that decision. So I got the locks. I hated them. I really hated them. I always said that I looked like a WNBA player because it was just not my vibe. My hair, again, was up to here. It was just, I don't know, I just didn't like them. I didn't like the texture of the locks, but I knew from watching so many lock videos to trust the process. And if you're watching this and you're in the beginning stages of your lock journey, all I have to say is if you know what you envision in your mind as the end product and you are in love with that end product, trust the process. You will get there. So I knew that. I knew to trust the process, and I allowed them to grow out. It was kind of a hard journey of learning that locks are actually not a low maintenance hairstyle like I thought they were. If you want to look presentable and you don't want just a big ball of poof here, because again, if you have mixed hair, like the way that it grows out is just, I don't know. For me, it just wasn't my style. There's a plethora of different styles of how you can rock your locks, but for me, I like a more clean look. And so I had to get used to wearing bandanas all the time, finding cute bandanas and how to style it so I not only looked presentable, but like I actually tried. So yeah, that was a hard adjustment. And then fast forward, I moved overseas. If you don't know, I usually live in Central Asia with my husband and our 1-year-old son and one on the way. But there, literally no one has hair like me. I feel like I'm the only person with locks in the entire country, and especially there's no one to do my locks. So I never was able to get my hair retwisted. In the 2 years almost that we lived there, I got my hair retwisted twice. One of those times I found a random person. There's a big African community there, so I figured that she could lock my hair, and she did an okay job, but we didn't have any products. So yeah, that didn't turn out necessarily the greatest. And eventually I tried to teach myself how to lock my hair, and it was hard. It was really rough, especially being pregnant. It was just like not the move. Anyway, I had to learn how to take care of my hair, and I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still in that process of like, how do you maintain locks and keep them healthy and thriving? I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I would say some of my mistakes were always pulling it back into a ponytail. I didn't realize that when you're pulling it back, it's just like with loose natural hair, like where you have the ponytail, it eventually starts to thin. And also sleeping without any type of protective covering over it thins them out. So yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, but I am so happy with my decision. I would never want it any other way. I will insert how many locks I actually have. This is the final product. After 4 years, this is where we're at. And I literally, it's seriously the best decision I've ever made. I feel like the most myself I've ever felt. Like this feels like me. So if you are out there and you're considering doing locks, I would say do your research. Make sure it's the thing that you actually want to do. You can always go back, you can always comb them out and etc., but I mean, it is a semi-permanent decision. So because it's such a long process, it's such a journey of coming into your own identity and discovering who you are all over again with this hairstyle. Like, there's only one hairstyle. I mean, you can do it in different ways, but you're very limited by like how your hair is. Whereas with loose natural curls, you are limitless. You can do whatever you want to your head. I mean, I guess you can do the same with locks, but it is a little different. So take your time, do your research. I love it for me. And yeah, I just wanted to share my journey with you. If you have any questions, leave them below. Don't ask what products I use because I am just now coming into that. I think if I were to use any products, it would be like some aloe. Sorry, my camera died. It would be some aloe with rose water, and I would spritz that in. I actually should start doing that. But then also I'm in the process of finding a good moisturizer. So if you are out there and you have my type of hair, please feel free to leave in the comments below what type of hair products you use on your locks. But also considering the fact that I don't want buildup. Like, I'm terrified of buildup for some reason. I don't know, because in my head, if there's buildup, that means you have to wash it a little more often, which means it doesn't hold the style. Like, for me, the more I put water on it, the frizzier it gets, and that's just not what I want. So yeah, if you have anything in mind, please let me know. But I think that's all. For this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it, even if it's just getting to know me a little bit better. And yeah, my name's Alicia, by the way, and I post weekly vlogs. Not only weekly sit-down videos, but weekly vlogs, just sharing my life, my thoughts, my journey overseas, slow living, all the things. And if you are interested, you should stick around for the journey. I will see you in my next video.
I was looking for a peace of mind. It's a feeling that I tend to get. Won't rest until I make it right. Couldn't stand the thought